Time to get back into the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We just found out that the waiter is an investigator for the police, and we're going to see how that plays into all this. 22nd of November, 11:38 a.m., Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber 5. Excellent work, Rinosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there, you were just drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was so beautiful. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain. Is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut up in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, the both of you. The girl just disappears from existence. Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, then I shouldn't waste everybody's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? Huh. So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes. You need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need.
Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama.
Defendant Naruhodo! Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. Before those old fossils know what's hit them. Kazuma, I need to say I've always loved you. What?
Thank you. Really.
What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really gonna give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So, this isn't just this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Absolutely, yeah, I'm down. It's a date. I love you, Kazuma. Alright, let's get in here. Judge, I see you're looking as fine as ever.
The court hereby resumes the trial of Rinosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aoshi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely that the good relations we've forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders?
Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Rinosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up! Shut up, you jumped-up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing! None of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said. Well said, Rinosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counselor. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Josiah Brett.
Yes. Your Excellency!
Wow. I don't even get to see your face. Okay, sure.
Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land.
Tea. Someone bring English tea. In England, no discussions take place without tea.
Is that true? No idea.
So, ahem. Could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I've been working undercover as the head waiter at Le Carnival, but my true...
Yes, we know about you already.
Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first.
Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description of this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what that says.
I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what?
It doesn't even... Yeah, I have no idea. Is she just mumbling?
The lady says her name is Josiah Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in UMay University's medical faculty.
Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song.
English is not that pretty. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yeah, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke.
The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand.
Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett.
3 days ago, at a restaurant called Le Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct?
Oh, I see of in cursive. She says yes. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? Okay, yeah, sure, I heard it clear as day. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting, when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps?
Apparently it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight.
Do you mean to say...
Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime.
The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood.
I'm a murderer.
Order in the court.
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement.
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Yeah, it's that woman.
Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described.
Alright, let's do it. It's gonna have to be translated, so that's a little bit annoying. But sure. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. Huh.
Yes!
This is a... No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard. And look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine those whose words the court is going to believe.
You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. She wore the same outfit as 3 days ago? But why? I would think that she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. It's very poofy. It's a very poofy dress.
Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot.
Alright. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. Ugh. That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Dude, calm down, man. Come on. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been some other gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart.
Oh, that was a sly smile I just saw.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Alright, I don't really know where to start with this cross-examination. And really, it's just Hosonaga doing the whole thing. Yeah, so why was the table turned around? Let's get that figured out. He was unable to eat, you say. And that was because he just had a tooth removed at Hota Clinic, correct? Or Hota Clinic. That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left?
Dear me, what a harrowing experience to have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Rinosuke, about the witness's last statement?
Oh, it's meaningful.
The last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case.
Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing,
Do you know? The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well sidestepped, counsel.
Very well. Miss Brett, kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your officially... Well, kindly repeat what you have just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said.
Yeah, she does seem pretty happy about it. Also, I don't know how her mask has eyes that change, because I'm pretty sure they did not look like that beforehand.
That was brilliant, Cosmo. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips that you're picking up from this experience than that, Rinosuke. I ordered a beef steak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water. Okay. Let's look at the court record real fast, yeah? Well, I actually don't need to look anymore at that. Yep, water, totally fine. There is a bottle of carbonated water, but there's only one glass. So, I'm guessing that I just need to present that on this statement. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Yes!
That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd. Very odd.
Dear me, what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself.
Rinosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously it's the cheers.
The cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Ah. You're quite right, counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutiae? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Minutia, you say? Could it be that a detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try and tell me you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Okay, let's hear from you. Yeah. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was all so terrifying. Everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I had been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious.
Sorry. There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray?
That's absurd.
Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief?
What? No. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. Let's hear it. It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. Well, that would be a place to conceal a gun, A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end, it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You've wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's deeper significance there, it's definitely the handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Oh ho ho. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't seriously be suggesting.
Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir. I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag.
No!
Order, order, order!
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Cosima? Yeah, we still haven't explained why you're coughing so horribly. Jeez. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly, you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. Oh. This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Also, what is that on Wilson's wrist? It looks kind of like an ox head or something. Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ugh. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. You look so freaking satisfied. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. You're fine, don't worry about it.
Order, order. Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once.
Certainly, Your Excellency. Yeah, I'm gonna need to look closer at that in just a bit.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Give me a second, I'm going to look at the court ruling, and I'm going to take a closer look at this picture, because I need to look right here. Actually, apparently it won't let me do anything about that. So never mind. Oh wait, can I, Oh, that's right, I can look at the people. So be it.
Indeed, and there's only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Rinosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? This can't be it.
I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat while the strong eat. You were wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell.
This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma, what? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue.
Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we'll be able to report to the British government one time after all.
That smug little...
Rinosuke Naruhodo, having considered all the evidence placed before me...
Wait! Your Excellency! Rinosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means if there were a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
Except for the one I already found. You'd better know what you're doing, Rinosuke.
I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it.
Very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
If I could stop freaking yawning, oh my god.
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response at Kier, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency. Let me just... I don't think the game saves well, so you kind of just have to go off on your own. I was gonna do this just in case, but I know I'm right. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you've alluded. Oh yeah, I know exactly where it is. It's this. It's literally right here. Oh, does it pulse? I know, it pulses the whole time. But I know this is it.
Yes!
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn or of some description.
Objection! Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Well, yeah, it has nothing to do with the handbag, but it might have something to do with the case. Yes, that is a burn mark. You're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
Well, I mean, unless we get really good on forensic science really fast. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Ouchie points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett had a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
Oh, is he? What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Well, give me a second. Is anybody around here, I don't know, bull related? Yeah. I don't know. So, I just realized the Curio, like Curio, this guy wasn't really useful at all. And we didn't, I mean, why was the baby on this guy's back? Are they gonna come back? Huh, I don't know. Anyway, so I was thinking, yeah, already did that one. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again.
Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence? Evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. But what? I hope it's not a real swan, now that I'm seeing you ask. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. Dude, I was asking about the headband wind as well. Yeah, I literally have no idea how it's doing it, but like, it's pretty cool, right? Does this have anything to do with a bull? No, I mean, it just looks like an ox's head. Unless it's supposed to be something else? Like a bug? I don't know. It probably has nothing to do with his dental report. Does it look like anything on the table? Yes! It looks like that thing on the table. It looks on the plate. Okay, cool. We're gonna do this. I'm presenting this.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print?
Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at this scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would really be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. I'm not even sure if she understands Japanese. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Well, I already saw it. Come on.
Yes!
It's right there.
The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on.
The plate?
Ah!
Your Excellency, are you all right?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnival. Ah! The emblem on this plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Ah! Rinosuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection! But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago, and although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. That's a long time to have your wrist on a hot plate.
It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then.
I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of Le Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter! Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burned themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day,
that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel.
And the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antique dealer, all of us would without any question have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Well, I suppose.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? That's a good point. I don't believe it. Inosuke, do you think? Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. A trap? A trap? There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already dead? No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Already?
Dead? But how? Literally, how could that be? How could he have already been dead? Rinosuke spoke to him. Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. Shinde.
This is madness!
Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
Hey, this guy's a great lawyer. Come on. No, Prosecutor Ouchie, it's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. Yeah, I don't know why Kazuma has a sword, but, like, it's really cool, right? It makes you seem just really imposing.
But, Your Excellency.
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency. It's been a while since you've spoken. What you gotta say? Just a sly smile. What was that smile?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help.
Oh, so you knew Japanese the whole time!
Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Miss Brett, you speak Japanese.
Nihongo?
Well, of course I do. I'm studying in your country after all.
But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
That's kind of mean.
But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen, so I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level.
Oh, well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us.
What a simp! I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
Yeah, it's kind of racist, right? So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Rinosuke. Yeah, I cannot wait to hear this bullshit you're about to spew at me.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yeah, but the post-mortem report was done by a police officer, because forensic science is not really super a thing right now.
If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
So it's poison. It's, yeah, exactly. It has to be poison. I mean, literally. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Oh, okay, see. So there's a glass missing from the table, right? And the table's actually turned around, with the steak being in front of Dr. Wilson. But only the woman ate the steak, and her glass is still there. So the glass that she took is Dr. Wilson's. So Dr. Wilson's glass has to have some trace of the poison in it, and that's why she has it. That literally has to be it. Mwah. I've already solved this case. Wrap it up, boys. We're done here. Easy does it. Yeah, some dude got murdered and goes to the Supreme Court because the murdered guy was a British dude, and this is Japan, and they like just signed some kind of treaty that says they have to do cool stuff between their nations, so it's a pretty big deal. I hope that this is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your language. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady, and it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. That's a weird thing to say at the end. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett. Put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. Oh, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. It's gonna be great. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Yeah, just give a good old slap. Let's go. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with a cross-examination. Okay, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and press on every statement you have, because I wanna hear more from you. But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. Yeah, you can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived in this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? What fun! You hadn't realized. My dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Yeah, it's time for me to die. I might as well just end my life here. Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can. Why'd you just admit to having a tiny brain, ouchie? Well, I can't. Anyway. Wow. I can't believe I just got put on the spot like that. That's, ugh. Yeah, let's talk about raising your glass in a toast. As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water. Is that right? Why would you have carbonated water? It's not even worth it. LaCroix is just bad. You were just toasting with LaCroix. Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember, which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although... Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you. Ah, I have enough English to understand that at least. For the benefit of others in the court, it means bless you. I think it means the exact opposite.
Anyway, as far as I've heard,
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about the post-mortem report, okay? Because the post-mortem report sucks. It's terrible. It was just done by, like, a normal police officer. Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes.
luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life.
But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point.
And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time.
Well, I guess you're right.
I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right.
Ugh. Oh, you're so smug.
Yes!
Let's press on it. Without leaving a trace.
If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, my dear lady, and as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. Huh. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true, but maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark.
If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Takatsuchi Ouchi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions, that's right.
A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. Okay, but do I have evidence of poison? 'Cause I feel like I don't. I mean, it definitely didn't look like his death was hemorrhagic bleeding. There's not that much blood, but it won't let me say anything about that. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. Yeah, sure. Single bullet fired at close range. Fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. Yeah. Well, actually, let's talk about our country's inferior investigative techniques, right? Inferior? What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost.
What the? Are you okay, man?
It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? Haha! A killer blow! The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful.
No, okay. That man has been coughing since the start. I think somehow he got like a very small dose of the poison somehow. That's my guess. But the truth will come out, I'm sure. Let's not jump to any conclusions, right? Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't quite seem right. Oh, okay, wait, so do I have to go press on the other one that I pressed before? What do you think, Rinosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. That's not necessarily true. Yes, As I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Can I look at the history? I just want to reel back. Right. So, if the investigation takes a different route, vital evidence may be lost. Yeah, vital evidence may be lost. Rinosuke. Kaz. What, Rinosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean... about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. I mean, you're not wrong. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but... Well, okay, he coughs when she lies? I don't know about that, because he was coughing a lot beforehand. You know, but maybe. But this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once Miss Brett is pressed on her last statement again. Let's do it. Look, okay. He's an inspector, but he's undercover at the restaurant, right? So he had to be the head waiter for like the past few weeks. And still, he is dressed as a waiter for some reason, even though he's not at work. I don't know why that's a thing, but it makes sense. Alright, let's press you here. Yes! Right. It's inferior. Yeah, we already talked about this. I don't need to say all this again.
Wait.
Yeah, how do I do that? How do I do that? How do I go over there? Can I press a button? Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital... Yep, okay. Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Rinosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? Okay, this is meta stuff. Don't even worry about it. At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But we can move over. But by moving the marker left and right, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch the person just at the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across and focus on the detective, and pursue him with A, and see what's on his mind. Here we go! Ikuzo! Wait! Let's get over there. Let me move. Thank you. That took a long time. I guess I had to wait for his animation to end.
Excuse me!
Excuse me! I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something important you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Objection! What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately.
Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not.
Hmm?
The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness.
Oh, true. He is in the witness stand.
Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Yeah, bring down the hammer, Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Oh yeah, you do. Oh yeah, you do. Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak.
Let's talk about it.
The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless.
This idiot tested the glass himself and got poisoned from it.
Ugh. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Well, okay, yeah, calm down. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Oh? Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence.
Yeah, modern day, that shit would not be accepted as evidence. You can't do that.
Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle.
How do you know it was that bottle? Don't they all, like, look the same? What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Thank you for the bottle. Actually, wait a minute. Let's talk about the bottle. Is there anything I need to know here? Let's see. Can I look at the label real fast? Label is written in a foreign language. It's probably English. I think it's French. Oh no, it's French. Okay. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. Nothing weird on the bottom, right? Oh, the water. Yeah, let's look at the water. So this is carbonated water, and it's the last drink that Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Rinosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Well, you can. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Rinosuke. In more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Alright, I'm guessing yeah, tip doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah. And now what statement has to do with the water here? Well, the toast, okay. Yeah, the Post-Mortem Report did show no other possibilities. Ah, well, you asked for me to show you, and I do like to please a woman, so we're gonna go ahead and do it. What is this, the bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison?
On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? It's very possible. It's very popsicle. Order, order, order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to sip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could have possibly done it. Jazile Brett. I still don't know if I'm saying that right. It was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous, to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile. Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you given the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Well, I mean, I don't care. This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
Ahem, if I may. I will silence you forever for this It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady.
Where did that come from? She just snapped.
I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you've still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not.
Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents.
And? What did you find, Inspector?
I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. That's a lot of toxins, right? We could not find any trace of poison or any we could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No. No! Okay, but what about the glass? What about the glass?
I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like, could have brought a poison from England, right? I agree.
But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours.
I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned.
Thank you, Counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit.
I'm done for.
The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding,
I must ask the counsel for defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this present time? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Rinosuke. I have nothing more.
Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
This can't be how it ends.
Hold it!
Oh! Hi! I saw you a long time ago. Please, wait! Isn't that... What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense.
Oh, are you? I didn't know that. This is the first I'm hearing of it. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. To be continued. To be continued right now. Like, come on, I can't stop from that. She might be best girl, maybe. She reminds me a lot of Maya from Phoenix Wright, who's like the main girl. Come on. 22nd of November, 1:14 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom number 2. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ha! A judicial assistant, and a woman no less.
Oh wow, sexist much.
The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify.
That's stupid. That's dumb.
Yes, I fully understand. I only asked for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
But, Your Excellency... I'm most grateful.
Wow, this side of the courtroom's getting kind of crowded. Who are you exactly?
I'm sorry. There's no time. Please, simply accept this for now.
What is it? A report about something written in English?
It's Josiah Brett's research.
Research? Okay.
The
Englishwoman's?
After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper.
Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? It better be research about poison, right?
I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself.
Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of curare and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. I feel like I've actually heard of that before. Curare, what's that? I've never heard that word before. Well, I have, Rinosuke, so don't worry.
Time's up. The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it.
This is wonderful. Thank you. Okay, nice. I'm gonna have to look at that note.
Goodbye then, and good luck.
Thank you, Susato. You are a gift. You've had long enough, Counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. Actually, can I just take a look at this real fast? Okay, so it's a poison made from bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region used it to incapacitate their prey. Gotcha. Instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. Dang. Vanishes like a ghost. Yeah, she kind of just peaced out. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Okay, what if it enters through being consumed? Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. Oh, his tooth wound. He went to the dentist before lunch, and he had a wounded tooth, so he could only drink water. So it could enter that way. It's all clicking. It's all making sense. A solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. Yep, they would. Okay. Let's talk about this poison then. I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but...
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Ouchie, you do absolutely zero of the work. You just have witnesses. Like, you do nothing yourself. Rinosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. Are you surprised? Because I am. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Oh, Thank you. Well, Miss Brett,
Yes, Your Excellency.
if you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline.
Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order.
Yeah, you're staying here. We got some stuff to talk about. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense.
My apologies, dear lady. So, Counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention?
Well, obviously it's this.
Yes!
Miss Josiah Brett,
We understand that you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yume University, doing research. Yeah, you were. Research by sheer coincidence, perhaps, into a deadly poison. What?
poison. Where are you going with this, Counsel?
A toxin known as Kirari, Your Excellency. Even in the slightest amount, I have no idea if I'm saying that poison's name right, but I'm just going to keep doing it that way. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death. What? What complete and utter nonsense? Kirari, you say? I've never even heard of it.
You wouldn't have done.
What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Kirari before, or for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country.
It doesn't exist.
Correct. Which means, no matter what test the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify Kirari. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What?
We're getting there. We're getting there. Order, order, order. Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist?
According to this report, authored by the visiting research student from England, Kirari has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows. The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with Kirari suffer instant death. And then, what, that means just safe to consume? Like, is that okay?
Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery!
Trumpery? Yeah, I'm familiar with trumpery. We had 4 years of it.
These aspersions are utter trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the other diners would surely have noticed.
Incorrect. It's an instant death. That's true. What do you say, Inspector?
Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that Kirari was used.
Explain yourself, Counsel.
The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible sign of pain at all.
How terrible.
Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects would go largely unnoticed.
But I don't follow, Cosmo.
That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. Well, yeah, if it paralyzes your breathing muscles. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. More specifically, your diaphragm. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That sucks. That sucks. That's hideous. To the observer,
it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly Kirari poison. Yeah, I don't want to go that way, ever. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison?
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there's no means of testing? What a happy tale for the defense. Ahem, if I may. All these facts, you think you're so clever, but you must be taught some... It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady.
Ugh, always a simp.
So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it?
What?
You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act.
Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual.
Whatever do you mean?
Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the Great Empire of Japan is breaking the rules. Ha ha ha.
What's so funny?
Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please?
Oh, she's just gonna drink it. Well, yes, I don't see, why not? And of course, he's gonna pour her the glass. Expertly done. Absolutely expertly done.
Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys.
Wow, that's... that seems racist. Sorry?
To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy.
Is that how you say that? Farcical? Farcical?
You little police games and these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers.
England is also on an island. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, down the hatch. Wait, what are you doing?
No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair.
She didn't die. But I didn't expect it, because the glass was poisoned and not the bottle. Come on, we need to get to that fact. I know it's coming. Yeah, time passes. His headband is still blowing. You didn't die?
Goodness, whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned.
So, no curare. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying?
You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth.
Why can't we see your eyes?
Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett. It says it's delivered by Dart. Well, yeah, I don't know how she delivered it. But, again, I'm pretty sure she put it in the glass because he had a dental wound from having a tooth removed, so it could have entered through that wound. It just said it had to be through a wound, not specifically by Dart. So don't worry about that.
I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries.
Oh, yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you've given. This doesn't make sense. There has to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I do. Come on. Just, you gotta think faster than this.
Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London.
No, the, the dental tool is laced? Come on. Come on. He died, like, way after the dental appointment. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Rinosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water contains no poison. It contains no poison. We've gone over this. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle. What? Why, Rinosuke? Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now. Well, duh. Sometimes your unadulterated naivete really astounds me. But sometimes it's in need of a good staining. Until it's as dark as your uniform in the ways of the world. Oh, is that what this color is supposed to represent? As dark as the world, huh? Okay. That was a guileless ending to a promising line of inquiry, Counsel, for which you'll be penalized. Wait. Okay. So... Oh! Right, it has to enter through a wound, and she's not not wounded. Maybe I was thinking too far ahead. The culprit did put Kirari Poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious? Fool. Are you blind? There's no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw. Miss Brett drinking the water from it? That's right, which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly poisoned water unscathed?
Yes!
It's gotta be this. It has to be this. Yeah, the answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
That's not a valid explanation.
No?
After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency.
I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, Counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle? It's... Oh god, I don't remember what page it was in. But it lets me look. Thank you. Okay, so it's special characteristics. Cool. Let's do it. We've been hearing a lot about this Kirari Poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, Counsel? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years, to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Get to the point, please.
But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, Counsel. No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see. That makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it's true. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When Kirari enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever.
What?
Miss Brett, you authored this research. You know Kirari's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. Yep. She's basically... It's a real swan. What? I thought it was a fake swan this whole time. Okay. Well, Inosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? A lawyer?
All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I fail to see how... So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say?
Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw.
Schoolboyish? Flaw?
As even your brain has managed to deduce, curare is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus.
Oh, yes. Well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they?
So, this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk. The professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he?
Except he had the tooth missing. Ah.
That's right.
Good gracious.
That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no?
Wow. Order. Order in the court. Order. The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. She did just walk into a trap, didn't she? Checkmate. Are you trying to suggest...
Yes, that this curare poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that.
Oh, we're going black and white. What is this? Welling up inside me. I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection! He did it! He said it!
I don't think so, Miss Josiah Brett.
How dare you use that tone with me?
You know very well that there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why. Even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison, you are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence, as we know now that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the curare? Because he got dental work. As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. A fatal difference. The toxic effects of curare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But, what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water?
Inside?
Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You use that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing?
I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are so puerile.
What do you mean?
Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it.
No.
I mean, it could just slip.
Is it literally just that easy? You didn't stop her? No, Sonaga, come on. I believed in you.
Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed.
No. No! What is it? What just happened? It's the English woman. She just smashed that bottle. And in the Supreme Court. What a terrible blunder. Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible, at once.
You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it.
How could you? You won't get away with this.
You can't thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was any poison in the bottle, or not.
You...
And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact.
The gun.
Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady.
Or they're referring to that.
That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So, of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
No, you killed the victim that day, using Kirari, and then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. It's the perfect crime, but not really. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime.
What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really gonna get away with this? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Yeah, it really was. The swan did it? Maybe. It was the accomplice. Ryunosuke. Yes? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. I mean, it's kind of weird, right? So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. What I saw, what I felt. Every color. Oh. There was blood. Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head, could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Of course, yes, there's a clue. Why would I say there's nothing? Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe that smug smile off that English woman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. The clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is definitely this bloodstain.
Take that!
Take that! Do you have a British accent? Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. I'm not going to speak in a British accent that long, right? Yes, what is it? He's still miles away. Probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. That's a weird word, right? Niggling? But it just means it's like annoying you, I think, or like you know, eating at you, that sort of thing. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day.
Wait a minute. What? Where are you going with this, little boy?
It's just a memory that's been troubling me.
What memory?
I saw the scene sewn in the photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was carved on was a spattering of blood.
What?
How do you not remember that until just now, you know?
Oh, really? And what of it?
Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. But the bullet didn't leave his body. I remember that. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. It's not blood, it's A1 steak sauce, of course, yeah. Ah! Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Josiah Brett.
I beg your pardon?
This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Oh,
Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing?
This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean? Yes, I took the plate, in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it.
You did what?
He's bleeding because his coughing makes him bleed from the mouth. He doesn't seem to mind it. I don't know. I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. Oh. And I did it all in the name of justice. Well, it might be tuberculosis, actually. Yeah, that's probably just what it is, now that I think about it. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now. Isn't tuberculosis, like, really contagious, or is that not right? I don't know. Inspector, the court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir! Oh, wow, they really brought the entire steak plate, didn't they? Sorry for the delay. Here's what you ordered. The steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it?
Of course there isn't.
Quickly, Inspector. The blood, man. Show the court. Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. Well, I definitely don't see any blood. But also, this isn't the right steak. It has too many bites taken out of it. Also, it straight up looks like somebody just lifted this up with their hands and, like, bit out of it. These are not knife cuts. Nobody would eat a steak like that, right? No blood anywhere, yeah. But no, that's impossible! I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. Okay, but also, that's the wrong steak. I'm telling you, it is the wrong steak. Okay, yeah, it is super contagious. Good. So even if she won't die by firing squad, she'll get tuberculosis from being next to the waiter this whole time.
What an unbecoming expression, little boy.
Why is the swan there? Does it, like, poop on your head often?
You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you.
There's been a mistake.
I couldn't agree more, in the case of this disgrace to the Empire.
I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion in this trial.
Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at a courtroom proceedings is painful to watch, but I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over.
Man.
Huh, this sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused witness wishes to examine it again, be my guest.
A plate of steak has been entered into the courtroom. Yeah, I mean... Was the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? This is it now. I've lost. Rinosuke. It's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Okay, but how do I bring up that it's the wrong steak? Believe in myself? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. Well, let me do that now. Yep. There's a lot of bites taken out of it. Whoa! Oh, this is that collector's coin! Huh? What in the world is this? I think it's a Kaban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei area, I believe. No, I don't mean what is it. I mean, what is it doing there? Yeah, for those who don't know, when the sergeant was on the witness stand with the curio collector said that he had lost a coin. Obviously it went under the sergeant's stake here, so this is definitely just the sergeant's stake, and there's 2 pieces of evidence that we have for it. Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This isn't the first time today that there's been talk of a Hoei Koban. Hoei, I guess that's how you'd say that. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion and bullion. That is too perfect of a pun to make in English for that have like not to been planned in Japanese, right? Like that's a great pun. And I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary though. This means, yeah, tell me what it means. Tell me all of what it means. Oh, can I look at the coin a little closer? I certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat. And it's from the Hoei area too. That would make it really quite valuable. It's well marinated in the juices as well, look. What, are you thinking of eating it? No. But the next time I order a steak in an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize. I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this, Rinosuke. A Koban underneath this steak. There's only one logical explanation. Well, thank you for letting me examine that, although I believe it was unnecessary. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? Of course I have an objection. That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? Yeah. We just talked about it. Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth. But also, wouldn't I have like lifted up the steak in front of everybody and shown everyone the coin?
The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beef steak. Your Excellency, I think I made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial.
I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled.
I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's your position, isn't it?
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court to what you're alluding. Where precisely on this plate of beefsteak is the new clue to be found?
Right there. Literally right there.
Huh?
What in the world is this? I think it's a Kaban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei era, I believe. No, I don't mean... Oh, wait, okay. This is just... Man, I didn't realize that, it would just have me do this here. I guess I didn't have to, go through it on my own. But don't worry, we got it. The bullion and bullion. God, that's so good. I love that. Yeah. It's right there. That's what I'm alluding to. Yeah, it's just letting me do the examination. Like, is it just... Are we going to proceed to telling the court about this next? Because, I don't know how to present other than press... Wait a minute. I'm pressing A instead of Y, aren't I? Whoopsie daisies. No worries. I got it. Yeah.
Got it!
Got it! Good gracious, that's...
A Koban? What on earth?
A Huey coin at that. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beef steak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat? And the swan is in on it.
What a ridiculous question. How would I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want to know part of it. I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction.
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Huey Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel. A rare Huey Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now.
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway. Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant.
Even though I'm the one on trial here? The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beefsteak is... obviously the curio collector. Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Rasute, Curio Korekuta-san. Curie, as in Mr. Cucumber something?
Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable.
Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened, at exactly the moment when the gun was fired.
The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor.
Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Huey Koban, my prized coin.
Then this Huey Koban, do you mean to tell me?
No, please. Why would Korekuta-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and his plate? It makes no sense.
That's what I'm saying, right? Which is why I'm asking to bring Korekuta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here, without a moment's delay. Now we are going to get to the bottom of this. I can't believe we've come back to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that it's a key element in the case. I agree. Wow, the stand is really, really crowded now. Holy bejesus. What's this all about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize that it's dinner time for little baby Ido? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves.
Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness, and when cast from this courtroom, myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have I to say.
I still don't know why this man has a knife.
The sun has set on this Rasute shop owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Korekuta-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, have you ever seen this Koban?
Wah! That's it. That's the one, the very exact one. That is the resplendent, splendiferous Huey treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day.
Is the knife in the sergeant's foot?
It can't be.
As I thought.
Young man, Enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped?
Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices.
Sandwich? Soaking? Seriously?
Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose.
Somebody concealed my Hoey treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing?
Probably the baby. I mean, babies do weird shit all the time, right? That's my guess. Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case.
Yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation.
The Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korikuta-san's Koban is all too clear.
What? What?
I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel that stole Korikuta-san's Koban and hid it under the steak? Well, probably the sergeant that's strapped for cash, I would guess. Right? I mean, who else would it be?
Take that!
I must have been right. Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Iasanosa. What? How? How dare you, you monster. Monster? I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of Le Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me, it was Ido. Ido is the mastermind behind all this. That's not what I expected. Yeah, man. How are you gonna spin this? You would push the blame for your own crimes on your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. Come on, man. You're better than this. I would hope, anyway. Ugh. Ah! Oh my god. Clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop. Ah! Are you telling me that this baby freaking Ratatouille's the dad? No. What? What the Jesus is happening? Nippon Imperial Army, Sergeant Yasanosa, preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. I just think he's ratatouilleing him. I'm almost positive that's what it is. Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently extended conflicts remains in place. And I have heard that it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? Makes sense, right? This place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. Actually, that would make sense given the bite marks taken out of that steak. And your target that day was the old man and his caban? Of course it was. Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all.
A veritable phantom thief you are.
I was all set to leave the steak I was halfway through devouring when it happened. The gunshot heard around the world. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. I'd too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the steak. You know, as any normal person would, I guess. Hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. How would you... at a later date? How would you do that? I mean, really. Okay, man. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, this is ridiculous. I agree.
Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time.
Well, Miss Bread.
Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency.
Indeed. The theft of the caban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Yeah, why did we go through this whole thing? It seems pretty unnecessary.
Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me.
Nonsense, is it?
And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
Yeah, that's super weird. Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone.
No,
and good day.
You're definitely gonna have to stay here. Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming. Oh, no. It's just something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something that didn't quite add up. What? If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking, make your voice heard. Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett.
What is it now?
I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. Let me go back in the history just so I make sure I know what it is. Let's see. Yep. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. Yeah, it's weird. Biting it without a knife and fork. Yep, it's weird. Oh. Is it because she knew about the knife and fork thing? Huh. Well, wait a minute. Was this picture taken at the wrong table? I'm still very confused. Well, we're still getting to the point that this wasn't the right steak. Oh, so the contradiction is the picture and how there's a knife and fork next to it. Right, okay, yeah.
Objection!
I'm pretty sure that's it. The fact that it has a knife and fork. Well, yeah, how can she know that? Sure, but like, is that a big deal? Well, I mean, no, she was in the restaurant, right? She was in the restaurant, so she could have just seen the sergeant eating it that way. That wouldn't be outlandish. Well, what parting words were having the contradiction?
Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
Yeah, probably that one. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need to see some evidence, Counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where's the evidence to prove it? It's gotta be this, right? There's a knife and fork right here, and it's clearly used.
Take that!
The photographic print of the scene taken immediately after the incident occurred? What's interesting is the plate of steak that you can see is on the victim's table. This steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed. Yes, go on. More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed.
Now you're just splitting hairs.
Not true. Doesn't something about this steak strike you as very unnatural?
Unnatural? What on earth do you mean?
It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. Yeah, okay, I noticed, that wasn't the first thing I noticed. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Noticed what exactly, Counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork.
Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself.
Then take a good look at this steak, in particular, the edge where it's been eaten. Yeah, dude, those are chomps. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there.
Yeah.
It looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry and couldn't help.
She brought out the handkerchief for this one.
Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course. This will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave. I've heard enough, you irritating little spectacled samurai relic.
Oof, dude, that cuts deep.
Of course, dear lady.
What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Ha, good one, Kazuma. Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her. Rinosuke, do you know where you're going with this?
I do.
Yes. Now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And, most importantly, the evidence that proves, once and for all, who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. Yeah, it was a very long segue to get here, right? Like, I feel like there was a faster way. This is definitely the longest tutorial trial in any of the attorney games that I've played. Everything, Your Excellency.
Everything?
Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson.
Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase. Typical Japanese empty threats.
How can you be so sure?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it in court long ago.
Well, maybe. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet.
Hasn't been? What?
Just because it hasn't been shown yet doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already. And you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it.
I don't, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. I mean, you can be very clear. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the inconclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair? I mean, I still need to see the correct stake, which he said he has, right? It's gotta be that. The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it? Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? But that's ridiculous. Dude, you gotta calm down. No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this stake with the teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoyed chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Korakuda-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak. You watched it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. Dude, you're a thief. Come on. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the stake that you put the coin under, in fact, your own stake? Why the... What? Of course it would be his own stake. Why even ask that question? Tension! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentlelady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the stake that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal. Man, I knew that for so long.
But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table.
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor does she have any opportunity to steal the coin.
Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire.
Well then, how do you explain this paradox?
Exactly. Surely not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks over.
Well...
You did switch the plates?
Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my own eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hid the coin underneath it. But then when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So, when the cadet here was arrested and taken off the kitchen, I seized my chance. Weirdo. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table.
What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing.
It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done.
Unbelievable!
However, fear not, Prosecutor-san.
What now?
I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform. That is all I did, sir.
All you did? That's plenty, yes. Sergeant.
Yeah, it is. So, if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak, and the plate it was on, back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That, to preserve evidence, you had taken both. Ah! Brett, you know some things are about to go bad for you. That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. He really is. He's just like casually dying of TB while it's all going down. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot.
What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat? It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
No, you're not wriggling your way out of this time, lady. Thanks, Cosmo.
I beg your pardon?
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why this steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you. No?
Huh. You're the only ones who decided it was a problem, not me.
The reason the defense asked to see the plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing.
Thinks he remembers.
I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. I do too, because that's my memory. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and the plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. And do it post-haste, please. Yes, sir. Oh, there's the blood. I see it. Sorry for keeping you. Here is the other steak and its plate. Please, feel free to examine it. Did you not notice the blood when you looked at this, dude? Like, it's pretty clear as day. Bloodstain. It's clearly visible. Yes. Look. Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim.
Ah! It can't be.
In fact, there's only one person who could have possibly shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right. Miss Josiah Brett. It's you! The judge. Did your swan just die?
Outdone by a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No, no, no! Ah!
Did a chick just fall out of that? Oh my god! What is going on? Excuse me? Is she flying? What just happened?
Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me.
Well, Miss Brett, I don't know where the chicks went, but they're gone now. I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time. Please do. Please, please do.
Gladly, Your Excellency.
It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
It was I who took the professor's life, using curare. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning.
So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water, because curare is unheard of here in Japan.
Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water, and it would all be over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table.
It was me. That would be me, I suppose?
Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor...
Yeah, it ruined everything for you, didn't you?
Meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair, such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment.
A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. You piece of shit.
I happen to know that the professor always carried a gun, for some reason. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of Kirari in my handbag. And in my own pistol concealed under my skirt.
Yep, of course.
Under your skirt?
So I was right. There were 2 guns.
Yes.
And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Place where you were sure that I would notice it.
And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I had intended.
But what if he hadn't, right? Everything would be different.
And then, just as you bent down to pick it up,
that's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point, he was already dead.
naturally, the gun shot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared.
Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside.
That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around.
Because, of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he'd picked up the gun. Yeah, it all makes sense. It all connects.
So, there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor.
Really? You're going to call that a misdemeanor? You killed somebody. Dude.
Well, Your Excellency,
Yes?
I wonder, might I speak with you in private later?
I shall call on you.
Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san.
So is she not going to be apprehended? Is she just going to, like, leave the courtroom? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, she also just vanished like a ghost. Well, this isn't her trial, right? So, it would seem. This trial has finally run its course. Yeah, murder's cool, I guess, man. I presume the prosecution is in agreement.
This can't be. Takatsuchi Ouchi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student.
Dude, get over it, man. You'd better start getting used to tough opposition.
Ah! Rinosuke Naruhodo.
What, yes?
This insult to the Ouchi family name will never be forgotten.
And we'll never see him again. You become conceited with age, Council, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. If only our Congress knew that, am I right? It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. I don't know how you cut it from across the courtroom, but that was sexy as hell. 1,000 millennia may pass, and still the Ouchi clan may never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. Casual assault. Not if they don't press charges. This trial, in the Supreme Court of Japan, will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case. Thank you, Your Excellency. The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asogi. Yes? After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all that you can. Absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind. As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, yes? In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency.
It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Oh my god, the prosecution is still sitting there dumbfounded.
This court is now adjourned.
I didn't realize, but the judge has some killer eyeliner. And I'm sorry I said that before anybody has a chance to see him again. Whew. Back in the antechamber. We gotta wrap up from that amazing case. And yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with Brett. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial. Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Omegato. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. No. It was a pleasure to watch you at work. So, you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yume University Street. Don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off. Is that the... Oh yeah, it's her talking. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence. Ah, our trusty judicial assistant. You worked hard for that result too, you know. Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much! If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Brett's, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be from my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate. Your father? Ah, yes, of course. Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Speaking of Mikotoba... Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job. Thank you, Professor. Oh no, it is I who should be thanking you. After all, your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend. Yeah, good friend, of course. Oh yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it? Yes, that's right. Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson? Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital. Oh, you worked together? I've never heard you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world. In science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan. You're not taking the sword to Great Britain, are you? Well, I'm pretty sure he is. Of course I am. A Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. I don't think Naruhodo-san has a katana. It cuts down anything that's in my way. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already within my own eyes. That reminds me, what's happened to the woman? To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah, yes, her. It's, not easy to tell you this, but... What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all. She'll be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai. For Shanghai? What? Shanghai? Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that. What? But why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Inspector Hosonaga. I just took a guess. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate... But what's this all about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who? Who's going to bring her to justice? A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away, where our voices can't be heard. Why, but why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Yeah, diplomatic immunity is a piece of... Ugh. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our governments making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. Yeah, something definitely is. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan. I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her. I don't believe it. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening calls for a celebratory drink. But, Professor... You're right. This is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Rinosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. Are you coming too? In that case, might I suggest Le Carnival? As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. You're a detective, Hosonaga-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about the details for now. To La Carnival, will you accompany us, Professor? Who's paying for this? That's a very rich place. Of course, the Carnival's food is second to none. I shall go and attend to the paperwork for Naruto-san's release. Oh, yes, thank you. Everyone just ghosts out. So, Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Kazuma. Yes, Rinosuke? I just wanted to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today. I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? The defense was all your own work. Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not so sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, be serious. If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it, for being a defense lawyer, I mean. Dude, I am Ace Attorney. ACENM5 Attorney. Oh no, not me. All that tense of Robo Combat, I never want to go through that ever again. I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point? Listen, Rinosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No. The ability to believe. And to find the truth, too. Like, let's not forget about that. To believe? To believe what? A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it. I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you chose to believe in, even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. Believing in your client. That's all it takes. Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stop believing in me. Well, you face seemingly hopeless situations time and again, but you never stop looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts. and because you never stop believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Rinosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is... Ah, you're still here, are you? Oh, Inspector Hosonaga. I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah, yes, that too. So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma. Professor Mikotoba. Susato-san, who acted as my assistant. Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. He was helpful, come on. He was a good guy. It was because of the help and support of these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. Until next time. Alright, episode 1, done. There is so much of this game still to go. Well, yeah, I'll just return to the title screen. That's a great place to end the stream. Right, I think tomorrow, yeah, I'm probably just going to keep playing this. I don't know if 3 hours is enough time to get through another episode, but I'm definitely going to try it. So we'll see what happens. Thanks everybody for watching. You know, come with me tomorrow if you want to see more Ace Attorney. I think I'm pretty good at doing the voices. I pride myself on it. But yeah, remember to eat dinner, enjoy your weekend, and